Hi folks, and welcome to this wee special edition of the podcast where we're going to go through some of the members and how they started in the hobby and where they're at now and where their hobby's going. Sort of like it's called Chain Reaction on the BBC, so we've just pretty much plagiarised it and nicked it. So we're just going to steal that and use it, and basically I'll interview somebody today, and then that person will then interview another person, then that person will interview another person, and so on and so on. And you see how it works, chain reaction, that's how it goes. So my guest today that I've got is Matt. Say hello, Matt.
Hello, thanks for having us.
You are there, that's good, that's awesome. Yeah, so Matt's here to talk about his hobby. You'll see him at the club if you ever come along. If not, I'm sure when you do come along, you'll see him kicking about. He's usually doing Necromunda, but he also does some 40k, and that's probably what we're going to talk about today a lot of the time. But yeah, I mean, we'll just go straight into it, Matt. So what army do you collect?
Well, I get the Tempestus Scions, so same as yourself, really. Just sort of, it was quite interesting. Initially, I started collecting the 40k, it must, I don't know, 16, 17 years ago when I first moved up the region. And like, I went for NIDS back then. I don't know what edition of the game it was back then. And like, even back then, I never won a game. I haven't won any yet. So like, I don't have I think I've drawn one, but it's all good fun.
Drawing a game is near impossible, mate. So that is some achievement if you've drawn a game, to be honest with you.
Like the scenario rolled, it was in the Crusade, and it did not work for my army at all. It was 100% against what my army could do. But yeah, so I started on Tyranids. They were pretty cool, and it was when the shop was in Dumfries, but everyone else had Space Marines or Necrons, so I just couldn't get close at all. And that was the experience of my playing with Tyranids. I've still got a Carnifex over to my left somewhere.
Classic.
But, yeah. Currently, doing Tempestus Scions, playing with the list a bit, but I've settled on trying to get 2,000 points worth using Scions and Knights.
Oh, calling him back up, mate. That's what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Calling him back up.
It fits the law for the regiment I chose as well when we sort of go through. So
yeah, well, I mean, that'll sort of go to the next question. So why the Tempestus Scions / Knights? Why did you choose them?
It's 100% ruler cool. That's how I work. It's how if I end up chatting to it, it's the same with Necromunda and stuff, choosing a gang. You 100% ruler cool, because I'm all for the fluff of it, the fun of it. And the Scions, to me, they just kind of, I mean, the Scions are part of the Astra Militarum, essentially, so lots of people might think, why didn't you just go Astra Militarum / Imperial Guard, because you get all the tanks, you get access to everything. And it's just, well, they're a bit more special forces, at least in law. The rules don't make them last as long as what special forces should be. But I got the sort of idea, the kind of like the power regiment, they'll get dropped in via the aircraft. They do the hard hitting, nice sort of, they're the scalpel of sort of the main Astra Militarum army. They look really cool with their arm as well. Vast majority have helmets, because I hate painting faces.
That's a cheat, mate. That's a cheat code. If you don't like painting faces, put a helmet on it. That's it.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the same Necromunda man forces. Not one of them has a face visible.
Yeah, quite right. Quite right.
Lots of fancy like weapons, plasma melter and stuff. If anyone interested, if you want to get Tempestus Scions, if you buy their start collecting box, you have every Tempestus model in the range.
Yes. Incredible.
Yeah, but really cool, 100%. They've got a few like nice bits of lore to do with their regiments and stuff like that. Yeah, and they sort of like tick the boxes for what I really felt at the end of it.
Yeah, I get you. I feel you, because obviously I collect them as well, and the Knights, so I know. I just thought SAS troops type thing, isn't it? They're just like Supreme Commanders. What I think they are is, going by like reading the lore of them, they're essentially how far you can push a human before you go, fuck it, let's make it a Space Marine.
Yeah,
that's pretty much before they start injecting them with like Captain America super serum. That's pretty much like as far as they can go with them. And that they sort of mentally break them, and then they've got like augmentations and stuff, and yeah, it's cool. Like it's such a cool when you start reading into it. It's really cool. Like
Yeah.
isn't it? And,
there's a movie called I think it's Spectral, where there's these sort of like ghost creatures like floating about the place, and this sort of military unit. They think they're fighting sort of insurgency, and it turns out as these creatures. And the end assault scene of it, they have all these specialist weapons and stuff and wearing a fancy armor, and that screams Scion to me. So it's like every time there's like a big sort of like, obviously when I play, my Scions have plasma weapons, and I will obviously supercharge them, I think.
Why don't you? Who uses strength 7 plasma?
I mean, I've lost many a Scion to their own plasma weapon.
no death in the 7th of the Emperor is a waste, mate.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
But yeah, it's just it screams that exact like supercharged plasma shot. There's like a slow motion thing, and it's like that just goes through my head every time I play it. And it's
totally.
100% really cool. And then the knights are just really cool as well. And the one that I went for has a mega harpoon. So yeah.
What's not to love? Do you call him Captain Ahab? Is that what he's getting called? Surely.
I like the idea of putting like a speaker on him, and it just shouts harpoon as it charges in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fear of the 41st millennium.
Yeah, Knights. I mean, who doesn't love big giant robots, man? I mean, that's what you're playing the game for, isn't it? Big giant robots smashing stuff. Yeah, brilliant, love it, and very. They've got their own sort of fluff as well, haven't they? Like Knights, and because seemingly I didn't really know much about Knights when I bought it, to be honest with you, and then I started. Once I bought it, I thought I better actually read like what they're actually all about. Yeah. And they literally are knights. That's essentially what they are, aren't they? They're like back in the olden days type.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like chivalry and all that kind of stuff. Like so like it's awesome that's the kind of way they are. And you just imagine them that they're these big like they're knights are piloting big massive robots. It's just awesome. I think it's just such a cool concept. And then the wee guys that are running about are sort of like the going to be knights guys, you know what
squires.
I mean? And yeah, totally, like squires that are helping them out, or whatever. But they've got their own like mini robots. It's awesome. Yeah. So, what's your sort of general play style with your? Because have you had a game of Knights yet? You've not. I don't think you've had a game. It's just your Scions, isn't it? So, what's your sort of general play style with them then?
I've only ever played the Crusade with the Scions and that, so quite sort of noobish on the sort of level for 40k and stuff. But I tend to go for just the good old frontal assault, because Scions are a total glass cannon.
Absolutely.
I know this. The other player knows this. So because I know they're going to die, that's half of the worry of a legitimate strategy out the window that I don't need to worry about. So it's like, if I can just deliver as much firepower as possible without, like, because I already know they're going to die, it's like, well, you know, then just next turn I focus on delivering even more firepower as fast as possible, and it's like, yeah, that'll do me. But the style obviously being really cool.
Yeah, I think that's what Scions lends itself to. I don't think you can really, just with the sort of selection of units that they have available to them, they don't really have a huge combat potential, and they're not the toughest. So to try and win a war of attrition with them is going to be pretty hard. So I've always found that you pretty much just go for the throat straight away. I just hope for the best.
And it's not even like, as you say, it's like you go for the throat. You're not going for an all-out, like, trying to kill everything you need to. Like, you have to play the objective to I don't know, guarantee a win. It's just a strong word, but play the objective to get a good amount of points, or specifically target parts of, because they are such a glass cannon that you could take that part that you're targeting, but anyone else will just take your boys out. But you know, that's it's just part of the way of playing.
I mean, that's the way you like doing it, though. If you're just like, I'm just going to go straight in it, I'm not going to muck about with like holding back and sort of being cautious, or you know, if you're just like, no, I'm just going to go straight in. I just love just going straight in. It's ride or die, isn't it? Pretty much, like I
will tend to pair off with like, initially before I decided to go for knights, I ran the 4 assassins with them. And they were all good fun, because I love some of them up as just saying they cause a right ruckus. Yeah,
they do. They can do, mate. They're quite can be quite unpredictable, I found. Like, I mean, I've not used them that often, but I found like they can be, sometimes they can go like total atomic and wipe things out, and other times they just bounce, and you're like, ah, shit.
Yeah, it's 100 points for one of these models, and it's like they're just not achieving anything.
Yeah. But like cool when that happens, though. It's cool when they get isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
The Vindicator is, he's my favourite by far. Just so satisfying.
Yeah, he suits the Scions, doesn't he? Because he's in like this sort of similar armor looking thing, isn't it? He's got like the mask on. He's got like the stealth suit thing. They've got kind of like suits on and stuff, so it suits their aesthetic, doesn't it? And it's quite cool.
Yeah,
but they can be so awesome. But the amount of ones you can roll with a Vindicator, I found, is utterly. I mean, they hit on 2s, wound on 2s, and yet the amount of ones you roll is just crazy. Absolutely crazy. How many times you roll a 1 for a model that hits on a 2 and wounds on a 2? I just don't understand. It.
You could be like a really cheeky, like what was it with the Lambden Lions, which is the regiment I run my Scions as. Their regimental trait is the additional 8 armor piercing on all units with a regimental keyword. But I think it's their warlord trait allows to reroll ones. So unless you just have like your Vindicator chatting with your warlord and then firing the odd shot, which could work, but
the only problem with that is he can't get the reroll ones. That's the only thing.
Can you? No, that shows I need to learn it. Yeah,
that's just strategy with the way, because he's not got the Lambden Lions keyword, they can't use it. But hey, if that could be a thing, I would totally be up. I'd totally be up for that. So, like that would be awesome. Getting reroll ones on him would be absolutely amazing, but no, he doesn't, and it's really frustrating when it happens. Look
at that, still learning.
That's it. Every day's a school day, mate.
Every day's a school day.
So like, because the stratagems he's got to like double kill and the mortal wounds and stuff he does when it does actually hit, it's really awesome, really cool. But like just getting him to hit and wound is the part that's hard, and you sort of hold your breath, like waiting for it to happen. Like you just know it's going to be a 1. You just know it's going to be a 1, and you're like, oh well, I'll spend the CP to reroll it, and if it does come up a 2+, then you roll the next one, and it's a 1 to wound. You're like, oh man, why did this happen to me? Is it? But but they're good fun though. Like I say, they can do that, and then the next turn they can take out 2 characters. You know what I mean? Like bam, bam, they're both gone. You're just like, wow, that's amazing. So, I do like the assassins as well. They add something different to your list, and especially the knights. Knights add something else entirely to your list, and when you use them, I've used them, so I've just had 1 knight and then lots of Scions, and I've done it where I've had lots of knights and hardly any Scions, and they actually work really well together no matter which combination you do.
Right.
Because the knights give the Scions what they don't have, and the Scions give the knights what they don't have, which is really fast mobile units that can go out and take objectives type thing. Whereas the knights bring the pain, really, because they're a good combat threat and they've got big hard hitting guns, and they're mobile as well. So they work. I found they really worked well together, which is really cool. It's just awesome. Two really like special ops guys dropping in with some knights. Awesome, like brilliant. What's not to love? So, have you got any narrative behind your army?
Well, like strangely enough, the Lambden Lions, they effectively work for the Adeptus Mechanicus. So their regimental trait is the additional armor piercing, and it's because their equipment's supplied by the foundries of Mars and stuff. So going along with the Titans and stuff, the knights coming from like Mars or the other houses or whatever, they kind of fit together, fluff wise, as if so they do. Like they obviously are, they do fight for the Imperium, they are there, but if there's any alternative missions required for the AdMech, then sometimes the Lambden Lions go out to perform these missions with or without clearance from the higher ups in the Imperium as well.
That sounds cool to me.
Yeah,
It sounds cool.
so it's kind of like they are loyal, but you know
Mhm.
they give it they like the Lambton Lions are aware that they give us all the really good equipment.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Don't bite the hand that feeds me. Is that what
yeah,
they say?
absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. They're just like mercs, aren't they? That's what they are. They're just mercs.
pretty much.
They work for the Adeptus Mechanicus,
Yeah.
essentially. And it's like, you give us good guns, and we'll do what you tell us to do, and we'll do it within reason. Yeah, cool. Yeah, see, I didn't know that either when I first bought them as well, because I run my guys as Lambton Lions. Because when I first bought them, that didn't really exist. They didn't have like regiments and stuff. I just thought, I'd bought a knight, one singular knight, to go with my Black Legion guys, and then I'd bought, because you didn't get Chaos Knights back then, so I did it. Did it before they came this big thing. I just putting out there. I'm putting out there. So I had this one knight, and then I saw another one for a bargain, and I went, well, I could get him as well. So I got him as well. Her, sorry, I call her now. And then I thought, well, I've got two. You've got to have three, really, haven't you? So then I found another one. I got that as well. So I've got three of them. And then that took me to about 1,500 points. And I was like, oh man, I don't really want to buy another knight, if I'm being honest. It's like, I really don't want to buy another knight. So I thought, what 500 points could I get? And I thought, you know what? Scions look really cool.
You
And
can
I
get
just
a
thought,
lot of Scions for 500 points.
500 points, that was like, I think it was like two box sets.
Yeah.
And I couldn't take some of the bits. I couldn't take like the Tau Rocks, because it was too many points or whatever, because they squad loads of units. But then, like you say, the fluff comes out for them that the Lambton Lions are basically like keys to the armoury, isn't it? And gifts from the Mechanicum. So then you find out, they actually do work together quite well. So not only do they work quite well in the battlefield, they actually work together in the fluff. So it was like, like, that's lucky, isn't it?
It's like, and when you were talking us through like the night stuff and things like that as well, looking for the different houses and whatever, and I was like, they're even the same colour.
Yeah,
it's like
totally.
the same paint scheme, and I was like,
man.
it's a sign.
And it must be that must be why the Lambton Lions are red. It's got to be, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Because of obviously the Martian
influence
on them. So that must be it. Yeah, cool. I mean, awesome. So what models do you actually have, or units do you have for your Scions and Knights?
So for my Scions, like as I said briefly at the start, you know, you get the start collecting box, and that's pretty much all it. But from that, I've built my Tempesta Primes, which are the HQ option. They dish out the orders for your infantry running around. You got your Tempestas, which are your squad sergeants, which I always give plasma swords. I can't remember.
Power swords. That's it.
Yeah. Power swords and plasma pistols, even. So all my officers have swords, so they can point where they want the guns to fire.
Yes, of course.
Very important. I've got command squads, which can feature banners and stuff, but they're a bit like not as useful game-wise, so I didn't include them.
Look cool though,
cool. Yeah, look fantastic. Your normal Scions with all their heavy weapons, plasma melters and stuff like that, and my Taurox primes, the little vehicles, little weird vehicles like that.
Canyoneros, that's what I call them. Canyoneros, mate. That's what they are.
They got the handy thing is they do benefit from the regimental stuff. So I've got two of them with the Gatling cannons, which have 20 shots a piece at AP -1, which is nice. All the missiles and stuff like that as well. But that's the from the box. So you get your infantry, which is command squad, your HQ options, your normal infantry, and you get the Taurox Prime and that. I got myself a single Valkyrie. That's good fun. I refuse to ever use a las cannon ever again, because I had it equipped, I think, for the entire campaign, and not once did it land a shot.
No.
So laser for the win. The heavy bolters on them are good fun. But also the stratagem for dropping my melter squads in, like I say, just like targeted frontal assault. Just drop it. If the melters don't kill the guy, well, they're gonna die. So,
yes.
You know.
Suicide drops for the win. Yeah, that's what them like, isn't it? Yeah.
And then the 4 assassins to go with them.
4 separate ones, the 4 different kinds. Yeah.
So was it Calexis, the Vindicare, the It's been so long since I've actually played with them now.
Calidus and Eversaw.
That's the one. Yeah. All good fun in their own way.
Yeah. And what? So your knights, you've just started to add to them, haven't you? So what have you got for your knights?
I've got still to build, like.
That's all right. That's all right. It's in the Mechanicum, just getting prepped.
Yeah, still getting prepped, right? I got 2 Armiger Warglaves for running in. Plan is to put them with melters just to get up and close again. And I have a Knight Valiant, which is like we had a good long discussion about what would be the best knight to go for, and it was obviously like everyone should know, even myself with my total newness, with like the Castellan, the sheer amount of firepower would be really useful on any game, just for just being there to dish it out. And I was like, hang on, this one has a harpoon.
Yeah.
I can just run in and scream harpoon at the top of my lungs, and if it deals any damage, it then deals D3 mortal wounds, because it's like attached to a taser as well. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'm having that. Sorry, mate.
yeah, absolutely. It's your hobby, mate. It's your hobby. You do what you like.
So I'm looking forward to just in you go, harpoon supported by Armigers, supported by Scions firing in my head. It'll look really cinematic and really cool, and that's all I worry about. So. Yeah,
man, it'll look awesome. It'll be really cool when that comes around. The big knights are the harpoon's awesome. It's such an awesome, is it damage 10? Is that what it is? Is that right?
Damage 10, yes.
A damage 10 weapon. I mean, that's just nuts, isn't it? Yeah. And it's awesome. That's so cool. Does it do like a or I don't know if it does, but it should. They should do like a scorpion. Get over here!
like roll a d6 on a 6. It moves the enemy model towards you.
If it doesn't kill it, you get you pull it d6 inches towards you. Yeah. And any model that it moves over takes d3 mortal wounds or something. That'd be so cool.
The knight awesome. And the targeted model are unable to leave combat until one of them dies.
Yeah, totally. Because you can do when you've got a fist on the knight, not on it was a Valiant or whatever, not on that, but on a normal knight, you can do a stratagem where you pick it up, you pick wherever you've tried to kill up, and if you don't kill it, you can throw it.
Right.
You can throw it away, or maybe when you do kill it, you can throw it, something like that. If you pick it up and kill it, I think you can throw it at something, and then it takes D3 mortal wounds or something like that. So I mean, that would have been awesome for the harpoon, or you could swing it about or that, have a sort of ball and chain, a rhino on the end of the end of the spear, just throwing it about. That'd be so cool. Anyway, hey.
A bit too complicated to put in.
Come on, Games Workshop. I'm expecting 9th edition Codex to have that roll in it. Come on, dude. Get your arse in gear. Let's do this shit. Cool. So, do you paint your models?
Yeah, 100%. Then it's all my responsibility to get them done in time. I build and paint all on my own. I'm still learning new techniques, trying different things. But I think it was yourself told us if you're happy with it looking good from 5 feet away, because that's the distance the other player sees it from, then you'll be happy with that. And that actually helped a lot, because obviously I want to try and make them look better instead of having to stand 5 feet away from them.
Yes.
Because I'm going to be looking at them as well, my models. Yeah. But actually that was probably the hardest thing when trying to choose a color scheme and coming in from a brand new perspective, pretty much. Was I thought I was an absolute terrible painter, but there's so many little things that make it look so much better. I'd never properly based models before, thinking about it. Putting a little bit of stuff, a little bit of the sand or the texture on the base and a bit of color, and that makes the model look so much better. Little things like that, and at the end of it, I was actually really quite pleased with, even though totally basic job, none of my Scions are washed or anything like that, because I thought I'd end up just making them go all black and just ruin them, sort of thing. I was like, no, I've painted them, they look okay, I'll leave them as they are with the base, and people have said, yeah, they look good, and that ticks the boxes for me.
Quite right. I mean, all you've got to do is, if you're wanting to enter competitions and stuff, and I know Kev is like that with he's got a strict stipulation of 3 colours on based. So as long as it's that, Matt. I mean, it's your hobby. You do what you like. You know what I mean? You can't have anybody criticise things when you're. It's your hobby. You do what you like. So if that's what you want to do, then that's what you do. It's there's no rule or otherwise. I would definitely think that the hobby is a lot more immersive though when people paint their models. You know what I mean? So I'd rather come up against a basic painted army in a game than a grey army. That's for sure. You know what I mean? So like that's my take on it. How far the person goes to make the models look more beautiful, whatever, is up to the person. You can't dictate to the person how they should paint the models. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm a dog shit painter, mate. I just paint black. Black's my go-to.
I mean, that's the thing. There's even like what was it? There's some Space Marine chapters totally black. There's one of it's the Scion Jackals, I think. The regiment there. Like the only other color they have is a white hand on their face, or a white skull even. Singing all very Saruman there. But
totally. Lord of the Rings rip off. How dare they? How dare they rip off?
That's it. But they're a funky regiment as well. I like them.
Yeah, like that's it. Usually in any army that you collect, like there'll be a basic colour scheme, because that's what Games Workshop do. They're not stupid, you know what I mean? Like they pick a basic colour scheme for, like, Ultramarines is just blue, isn't it? Like, but you can make it like look amazing with adding in details, but it's mainly just blue. You know what I mean? So as long as you can just get blue spray paint, and then you're pretty much halfway there. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. If you want to go and do, what is it, Howling Griffins, half red, half black, half red, half yellow, and checkered flags and all that kind of stuff for it, you go ahead, but you don't have to. You know what I mean? You can pick the basic colour scheme and go for it. So
totally,
I don't see why not. And I always find that if you just do basic colours, I lie to myself and say I will go back and do more. But you know what I mean? You can do that. You can, like, if you just paint them to a basic scheme to start with and go, once I've got better at painting, I can go back in and do the little bits of detail, as opposed to knowing my limits at this moment in time and going, I'm not that skilled at painting yet, because you've got practice. You've got practice at it. So if you do the basics first, get that down, and then as you do that, you're getting better at painting as you go along, and then you can go back in and do the little bits of details and dry brushing and ink washes and stuff, and then when you get a bit more confident, you'll do it to the whole army type thing. So you can go back and do it. I like myself and say I will do that, but I won't do that.
I was quite
I won't do that.
Yeah, I was quite lucky with because I had a Necromunda starter box, and it came with a load of scenery. So I was like, all right, I've never even thought of dry brushing anything before. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to try on the scenery. And I've got these, 10 little bits of, like, sort of scatter terrain that came with the box. And they have so many layers of different colours of paint on them, because I've literally just used them as, I'm going to try dry brush. And I was like, there's far too much paint I've left on that dry brush for this one. So then I'll try this and stuff. And so it's definitely worth having a couple little sacrificial bits if you can, and then just go into that. And that was like, but then so if we're looking at questions like, do I paint my own models? Yes, but it's helped having the sort of positive reinforcement from the guys at the club and yourself. You know, just like I say, when you said good from 5 feet away, and I was like, that actually takes a bit of pressure off.
It doesn't have to be perfect. It does, like, it can be intimidating if you turn up and the person paints like Kev, and it's like this beautiful looking
painters, like.
It's like, oh, it's awesome. Like, there's some really, really good painters at the club, like, so there's some really good schemes out there and they look awesome, they look amazing, like, and you're like, wow, mine's just like dog shit. But see, from if somebody just walked past the table, like, they might not be able to tell too much of a difference. It's only when you go to pick the model up and you go, oh, that's actually pretty shit, Nelson. You put it back down. So, but you know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be, as long as it looks like, because you're taking photos from range and stuff, and it just makes it more immersive, the game, like, if models are painted. And you shouldn't be, it's a skill at the end of the day, and you've got to take time to learn the skill. So you're not going to get any better if you don't do it. See, even if you're talking about dry brushing and stuff like that, and using washes and that, see, even just sprues. See the sprues that the guys come on? If you've not got spare models, so like you bought like the Start Collecting box, and you're like, I've not got any spares because I'm using every single one of these guys. Just use the sprues that the guys came on, and like cut them up and just like paint that, and then try dry brushing that stuff in, because it's the same plastic. So try dry brushing on that, and try like using ink washes on that, and you'll have an idea of like how it works, and it's like, all right, okay, I'll kind how to use that, because it's just a bit technique at the end of the day, and this is coming from a substandard painter, but like I've watched enough YouTube videos for them to tell me like what I should be doing when I paint stuff. So, but good, well done for painting models, mate. Well done for painting models, and I'll get somebody to commission painting for you. So that's good. So, what is there any rules that you've come across? Because you've played mostly Crusade, haven't you? So, like, is there any rules that you love or that you would like to change in the game?
Crusade was its very own separate thing with
it's its own beast, isn't it? It's its own beast.
Like some of the upgrades at the end of the day, for example, my Vindicator Assassin, the Assassin, he came and audited. And,
you're dog shit, mate. You keep on going once.
But he was able to take was it Artificer relics?
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I was very thankful to Danny. Because he brought his Eldar, and so my Vindicator got 18 XP in the game. So
that sounds impressive.
Because he got the most kills, killed all of his characters, and something else as well. And I think I gave him just the MVP of the match as well.
have you renamed him Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah. But yeah, and so there was one relic I gave him that was basically exploding sixes. So
nice.
It basically doubled if you land a 6 for a headshot kill, then you get the additional blah 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 that way, because technically it did it twice. Some other things, but in normal 40k, for me, I would like something that would actually make the Scions feel a bit more like special forces than what they're supposed to be. So I was trying to think through before we started, and I was like, would there be something like, I don't know, you could choose 3 pieces of terrain before deployment, and then you make a note of one of them. You have something just like of evidence to show the other player, and it could be that you know the attack was coming, so your forces set like a trap in that terrain piece or something. So like if an enemy unit then takes up a defensive position in that terrain, then you could say like roll a d6, and I don't know, on a 4+, the trap's been set off or something like that. It's like
that's very Gene Stealer cult, that, mate. You're that sounds like heresy to me. It
sounds like the scalpel of for the Emperor sort of thing.
I'd say this way, the Scions. So I played them obviously before Psychic Awakening books came out. The Psychic Awakening books make them feel a lot more special forces than they used to. I'll be honest with that. They got a lot more stratagems out of the Psychic Awakening books than they had previously, because we didn't have like regiments before. It was just stormtroopers. That's just what they were. It was just stormtrooper things. So exploding hits on 6s. But now you get all this sort of different flavour to them. They've got different like rules, and some of the rules are really good for them. So they had a bit more specialist. But I think because there's only like so many units in it, you're sort of trying to find new ways to do the same thing with them.
And if it was like, I would really like them to do this, then I should take Astra Militarum, because they can probably do that. So
I mean, I think at the end of the day, they were only supposed to be as a part of the Astra Militarum, this little bit. And I'm pretty sure what happened was somebody that works in the rules team went, you know what, I love these guys, so I'm just going to bring up at a board meeting that I'm going to do this, and just make their own sort of, they haven't got a codex, but you can bring them as their own army type thing. And it's really cool, because it's cool if you bring like Inquisitors with them and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So like that's just sort of like entourage for like a character type thing, which I think is really cool. Or like because you can take like an Inquisitor with them, you can take Primaris Psychers. I mean, not the Space Marine ones, the ones that's named the exact same and near enough the same faction, whatever. Weird. I don't know why they called the Primaris Psyker a Primaris Psyker when you've already got a Primaris Psyker in Astra Militarum. But hey, Games Workshop, why not? Let's just confuse people further. So you can take all them sort of things. You can take Bullgrins and things like that. You know what I mean? So you can make them have a bit of variety, but they don't benefit from the rules that are for the Scions, which is Like, yeah, it's okay. It sort of works, like, but you can bring commissars. Commissars can come in, so you can make. There is scope to make them, and then you can ally them with knights and things. So you can make them a bit more variety. But the pure Scions force has like 4 units. I mean, so it's like 4 units. Even a Valkyrie is not technically like a Scions unit, but it totally should be. I mean, it is, isn't it? I mean, it is a Valkyrie. It's just for like, Scions, really.
The whole point of them is like they've got dedicated stratagems that are just for Valkyrie and just for them. But like the whole idea of how they deploy on the battlefield is like, it doesn't say it, but it's from Valkyrie.
Well, it is. It's grav shoot insertion is from Valkyries flying overhead. That's what it is. That's where they're coming down, like jumping at the Valkyrie and dropping down off the zip line type thing, like down on the go, and that's it. So like Valkyries should be theirs, and they should like benefit from it. But anyway, that's an argument for another day, isn't it? So maybe that. There you go. There's a rules change that you could do. So what advice would you give if a newbie came along and said, "Oh, I'm interested in getting Scions or Knights"? What advice would you give them from where you started to where you are now?
I'd say try. Like for me, I fully based my decision on the rule of cool. So I thought they were really cool, really good fun. The weaponry available, they're not just like so cool that they're totally rubbish. They can give a good punch if you play them right, if you get lucky. But so if people really like Scions but they want them to do other stuff, I would say have a good look at the Astra Militarum as a whole. Because you can take Scions just as its own separate little detachment, a little support unit. So you still get your Scions, but then you get all your tanks, you get all your other like infantry units and stuff like that to support all your other different HQ options and stuff. So there's different ways to play Scions as well. From my limited experience, you've got each of the different regiments do different things. Like the Scion Jackals, every model they kill counts as 2 for the morale phase. You got the Lambden Lions, which is the additional armor piercing on all of their weapons. Some of the other ones, I've got little notes written down. The Capac Eagles, they don't suffer -1 to hit, I think it is, isn't it, with infantry and heavy weapons.
Yes,
When
that's a good one.
Vehicles, they get +1 to hit, so that cancels out as well.
Yeah, hitting on twos is pretty brutal.
Yeah, they're I think they're also HQ can issue orders from within vehicles as well, and it goes up to 24 inches. And now with the new rules from the data slide where they can affect other units within 6 inches of that, is that technically like a 30-inch order range on that? So
yeah, it's the Capac Eagles are used quite a bit. I think it's the Capac Eagles. It is, isn't it?
I think it's them,
there's Thetoid and Capid, and I don't know. I mean, surely could have picked a different a different bird or animal. Surely, but there you go. Again, Games Workshop. Why bother? Why not just confuse people? But yeah, there is the one where they can fly about in that. I've seen people put them in a Valkyrie and fly about with a guy inside, like dishing orders to people, which is cool. But yeah, so if they were starting off, I mean, it's pretty easy for Scions, I guess. Where would you point them in as a starting point for buying what models to get for them?
Pretty much. Like if you want to buy the entire range, get the Start Collecting box.
It's pretty easy, isn't it? I mean, it's I'm sure when this question is asked to other people from other armies that they collect, it might be a bit more intriguing. But for these guys, pretty much you start collecting boxes. Like where you go, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's worth, like I say, if you have a particular style you want to do of play, then it's worth looking at the Astra Militarum as a whole. If you really want to focus on just human-size humans or whatever, But for just the Scions, that box gives you, and then you do have to buy more models to bring you up to points as well, though, because they're very cheap. Points cost. Stuff like that. So.
I think, roughly speaking, depending on how you load them out, that box set gets you about 400 points-ish of guys, I think. But like I said, depending on how you load the things out, that's probably about 400 points for the guys. So if you think about that, divide that by 2,000 points. I think that's quite good though for Scions in that the rules are easy to learn. Easier to learn. No rules in 40k are easy, let's face facts. But I think it's easier to learn because you've only got like 4 units to learn. You've got the Tempestor Prime, the squad of guys, even the command squad is just a normal squad of guys. Do you know what I mean? It's just there's only 4 of them. They can take all special weapons, or they can have.
They all use the same weapons.
They all use the same stuff, and then you've got the Tau Rocks, which can have different weapon loadouts, but it's essentially the same thing. So that's it. You've only really got like 4 units. If you decide to get the Commissar's included in the box set, I think. So you've got a Commissar, but he's not technically. Scions, I think most people just end up selling him, so he doesn't really fit into the thing or whatever. But yeah, you've got like that's your 4 units, so that's good. I mean, it's the same with Knights. Knights is pretty much the same thing. It's just the same like model and the same stat lines. Just you can get
different
variations
arms.
Different arms on it. That's essentially what it is. So that's a fairly easy one to do as well. So I think between the two of them, you've got if somebody's just starting out, and like you say, the tactics for them. I'm not saying you don't have to be smart with them, but it's pretty much I'm gonna have to go in and just unload everything that I've got and hope to kill stuff. So it's fairly straightforward, isn't it? I mean,
my favourite kill with my Melter squads, because the grav shoot insertion allows you to drop them outside of 5 inches from an enemy model instead of the 9 inches, which is normally what it is. But my favourite kill with them was their melters did not kill some Necron wraiths I was against, but because of their additional AP -1, that it says for weapon profiles. So in close combat, the close combat rifle butts, they were sharpened with an additional AP. So I managed to beat a wraith to death using the rifle butts using additional armor piercing. And that was my favourite kill I ever had with my Scions.
Razor blade rifle butts.
Highly polished.
A Chuck Norris, mate, that's what he is. Chuck Norris with his fists, registered lethal weapons. Cool, nice one, mate. That's all questions. Questions have all been answered. I think that's good. He will be, well, if he's not tough. So, that's good in-depth. I think look into how you got started in the hobby and a bit of taste for anybody that fancies picking up Scions or Knights. And of course, if you've got any questions, me and Matt, we're on the Discord for Scions. There's some other players there that have got Scions or Knights and Astra Militarum in general. So if you've got any questions and you're thinking, that I could look for some advice. I'm not saying we're the greatest Knight/Scion players, but we can maybe impart some of the mistakes we've made onto you to help you out and see, give you encouragement in what you're doing. So if you've got any questions, whatever, you can just always nip onto the Facebook page, hit up the Discord, and we can try our best to help you along and not fall into the same traps that we've fallen into over the years. But is there anything else you want to add, Matt?
Just if any listeners are interested in coming along as possibly new members or whatever, like I'm relatively new to the club speaking, like I'll be new to proper 40k and stuff essentially as well, so like you won't just be drowned out by all these people that know all the rules and stuff like that, like this is how you should play. Like I am totally happy to have learning games, like totally noob friendly, small points about, I'm there for a good time and a laugh, so don't be shy, come along, have a chat, and I'll have a chat with you, it'll be good.
Nice one. As always, just get in touch, and there's always somebody willing to. I love having newbie games. I like having newbie games, like it's awesome, and I don't just turn up and smash newbies. Just as a caveat, I have lost newbie games. So, but just try and have a nice game and see how the game works and stuff. If you want to know how it works or you're interested in the hobby, just give us a shout and we'll do our best to help you along.
Absolutely.
Because we're all crack junkies. We're all plastic crack junkies.
Yeah.
Every single one is. And we want more.
In the box with my left leg at the moment.
We all want more. We all want more, don't we? So. We just want everybody to be in the same boat as us. That's what it's about. But thanks for coming on, Matt. Thanks for taking time out your hectic schedule, and we'll catch you again at the club, mate. And cheers for listening, folks, and tune in next time because there'll be another one. And do you know who you're interviewing next, Matt?
It will be Smee.
Well, that carries on the Imperial Guard thing, then, doesn't it? So
Absolutely.
Sorted. Right, nice one. Right, cheers, folks, and happy wargaming.
Happy wargaming.